Welcome to Steel, Forge, and Fire, Sword and Knife. On this channel, we support our U.S. veterans. Veterans, there's a place for you here. There's a number in the description of all my videos if you are in despair. Guys, the best way that I can sum up this Skyjiro sword is in 2 words. First word, 1 syllable, pride. Second word, 3 syllables, quality. 2 words that are completely unappreciated. When you're dealing with a company that takes pride and quality to another level, or to a level where they can basically cater their whole business around, it's saying a lot for a company. I did have an interview with Danny. He's in charge of general operations with Skyjiro here in the States. I would like to show you highlights of that interview because it's way too long. I think it lasted for about an hour. After I post this full review, I am going to post that full interview. If you're interested in watching it, I will post it in its entirety. But I definitely wanted to get you some highlights of that video within this review. I felt the quality and the pride in the product from the moment I took it out of the box. I should have shot an opening box video, but basically this entire saya was packaged up in a tight cellophane wrap over the Ito. Everything came in perfectly fine. It was a nice tight styrofoam box. It was handled with care and professionalism. That's definitely how it was handled. And it showed as soon as I opened up the box. I mean, I was just so excited to open it, I forgot to actually do an open boxing. But I felt the quality and the pride in the product as soon as I took it out of the box. The next thing that I noticed that was attached to the box, it was actually taped outside of the box, not even in the box, that really showed me the pride and quality of this product, is the sword bag. The sword bag, this is not your typical sword bag, guys. This is a very robust material, very thick material, nylon. Okay, it's not your typical sword bag. It's a heavy quality sword bag. But what impressed me the most is the fact of this beautiful stitching of the Skyjiro symbol here. Okay, that they put on the sword bag. This is beautiful. This is a great addition. I mean, listen, when you're spending, you know, $600 to $700 on a sword, you appreciate getting a sword bag like this that you can pretty much put your sword in here. You can take pride in the fact that they take pride in really putting a beautifully stitched, hand-stitched symbol of the cross-feathered katana from Skyjiro, and having this symbol on here is just, it makes you appreciate the sword even more, to show how much they appreciate and have pride in their product. So this was definitely a nice addition to have this sword bag with the Skyjiro. So guys, I'm going to show you some highlights of the interview, and then we're going to go into some details, break down all the details of the sword, and I'm also going to show you my first cuts with the video. In this video, I cut some bamboo, tatami mats, some water bottles. Did a great job. So I'll talk you all through it. So hope you enjoyed the video, guys. It's going to be a long one. A lot of details here. I've been building up to this video for a long time, and after 9 months I finally have a Skyjiro in my hand, so I'm definitely going to make it good. So stick around, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video, and here it goes. All right, guys, this is Joe from Steel, Forge, and Fire, Sword and Knife. So we have Danny here. Danny, thank you for joining us from Skyjiro. I really appreciate you taking the time to join us here. So I just wanted to kind of get into your head a little bit. I wanted to know a little bit more of Skyjiro from someone who's actually directly involved with Skyjiro. And first and foremost, Danny, I want to thank you for all the help in the ordering process, in the situation I had with the sword that you sent me, you know, the right one and the upgraded one, which is great. And I'm glad you had it available. And I really do love this Taka-Chigai cross-feathered katana. It's absolutely beautiful. But before we get into all of that, Danny, what is your role with Skyjiro? What are your day-to-day or your basic responsibilities with Skyjiro? Go ahead.
I'm mainly trying to manage a lot of stuff, purchasing and all, like customer service and all that. Since I've been to the industry more than close to 20 years, and yeah, I think I like what I'm doing. No, I like what I'm doing, and see, because I had truly handmade sword is not really happening in the modern days, and we try to keep the tradition and still keep it going with like
Right.
extremely low price.
Right.
And usually traditional mix oil, when you look back to many days ago, like it cost like a house, but now it's like you can buy a few $1,000, you can have fully hand mixed oil. It's just like it's un, it's un, we never thought about that before, but
That it's possible. Right. Right.
because people getting smarter and a lot of technique, even even though we lost a lot of technique, we lose a lot of technique on like, but we still gain some. Then we try to make it such a low price, and we just try to keep the culture and tradition going. And yeah, these are the main goal, and we don't do like production kind of thing.
I know that you guys take a lot of pride in your product and you're trying to basically keep the tradition going in the traditional way of producing katana outside of Japan. What are your Skyjiro swords made for? What are they made to do? And what functions do you recommend you use your Skyjiro swords for that you make?
Even though we try to make it a low, like as affordable possible, we
Affordable.
don't shortcut. We're still fully handmade, so it's something that pretty much you don't really heard like in this they doing. So we have own way of doing things, and and um, so kind of yeah. So for today market, we supply to the school. Like usually people do. We always tell other people you need to get some training in
Right.
order to understand what input to our pieces. Like um, then you're able to understand like how much work involved in making our pieces from hand,
Yes.
and like target customer more like a collector, and the um, and they like mainly the school they practice them. Like general people like you appreciate our work, but you need to get comparison, like
Right.
then you understand like what do you mean by quality. And most of our product are made for lifetime, just like traditional saw. If your saw break,
Right.
fail, you die.
Right.
So you
For
know
the serious practitioner. So
yeah,
you're
yeah,
catering. So I would say that you're telling me that your Skyjiro swords are catered more towards the serious practitioner,
yes sir,
someone
yes sir,
who's in training in a dojo, training in martial arts, and who's serious about having a sword that won't fail on them, that will
yes.
last them through the years, and that has an excellent fit and finish.
I think we probably got one return about having problems, not miss out like once a year.
Oh, that's an incredible track record. I can tell that your quality control is something so important when these swords come out of the forges. Your quality control is very high because I am very happy with the fit and finish of this sword.
So you can buy from one store from China.
Right,
They might copy our design, but exactly look the same.
right,
They might use the same material, but they produce in China, right?
right.
They might look the same, but I think
It's not the
will
same.
be really different.
You're selling. We've had this conversation before, guys. Skyjiro are selling swords for real function and real battle. So they're expecting it's almost like they're giving you a sword to fight an imaginary battle with, and that's the
Yes,
type
sir.
of quality that Skyjiro is doing for you. Is to giving you a sword that you can really rely on with your life. Obviously, thank goodness we don't have to rely on swords with our life, but these days, but they're giving you that impression that that's the type of sword that they're giving you, and I can
It's a
see
real
it.
weapon.
It's a
It's no,
real
it's
weapon.
no.
It's a real functional weapon. Can you speak about your steel, how you guys approach making your carbon steel real quick?
Basically, you look at some of the steel. They have a name. They have like a number, whatever. There's a modern steel they made from the factory. What happened is they probably like a good steel. They probably really good if you buy like really expensive one, like for some true steel, whatever like that. Spring steel, whatever that.
Yeah.
I forgot a couple name. Like really good steel.
Mhm.
But the
L6,
downside
there's
of
a
it, they
couple of
are
them. Yeah.
just make for making tools. They not for particular for blade. Like for for my previous study, that for my learning, that I would prefer, I saw that will not break but will bend, that I have a better chance and survive in the battle. So for general type of steel that from the factory, that they don't input so much stuff, they might either break or might either not strong enough or too soft or not too brittle, and they're strong and brittle, or not just not strong enough, and
Right.
too, like all kind of things. They're not balanced. Like for our blades, we mixing them like the traditional smith. We have our own recipe that we don't disclose, but we have most of the traditional recipe that passed down by our teacher.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Person to person,
that
generation to generation.
we
Right.
we try to stick with the traditional like as much as we can, and that way, we mixing them, not just getting just like to factory or whatever.
Right.
We melt from iron, so make sure that our mixture, like the hardness and the
The heat
flex,
separate.
and they
Right.
were able to not breaking them in a fight.
Hmm.
That we try to making our sword able to blend but not break.
So, Danny, I just wanted to tell you, I think pretty much just sums it up. I'm going to be getting also into a full review of the sword, but I appreciate you being here with me, talking to us and to pretty much all my viewers about Skyjiro, about what you guys stand for, and I commend you for sticking to the traditional methods, to try and also always use suppliers and materials that are going to be the highest of quality. And even in times of COVID, where your everything was kind of down, and it was hard to get things shipped, how you guys chose to let people wait longer just to be able to get the same quality and not shortchange anybody. And I do commend you on that, to always keep the quality of your Skyjiro swords high and at a level that you always want them to be in. Okay, so there are some highlights of that interview I did with Danny from Skyjiro. If you guys are interested in seeing the full review, I will be posting the full-length review, which is probably about an hour long. Very intriguing fellow. Could tell he really takes a lot of passion in his craft, a lot of passion in what Skyjiro offers and what they stand for. I definitely think you should check out the full interview that's going to be posted soon. So we're going to get into all the details of the sword. I'm going to break it down for you. Again, here are some shots of sheathing and unsheathing the katana. Very good balanced sword. I'll get into all that as well. So incredibly good fitting sword into the saya. Can't emphasize that enough. So here is the kashira. All of the pieces in the Skyjiro sword, this Taka-Chigai cross-feathered sword, all have the same theme, that cross-feathered theme. I love the details, that handmade type of casted look of the Skyjiro pieces. Absolutely no hot spots, incredibly tight fit. In the interview, I also asked him if he glued the kashira, and he promised me that they do not use glue on the kashira, but it amazed me that it does have such an incredibly tight fit. The knot really is done very well and really holds the kashira very tightly. The transitions of the kashira with the asuka is also almost absolutely seamless. No spaces and no hot spots. I really love the feel of the suka, or the handle, in the hands. It's a slender look. It's slightly an hourglass shape, which I really like, or it's called a Rico shape. Fit very compact in the hand. You notice the suka, how evenly fit the diamonds are, and that just shows how much care and professionalism they did put into the wrapping of the suka. The diamonds are almost identical. Not perfect, but almost identical. And I definitely appreciate that. They could have been a little bit larger, but all in all, I think they're absolutely great. They did a nice job on the wrapping of the suka. You notice that homemade silk, we'll call it Skyjiro silk, as Danny called it. It's their own type of concoction. They call it Skyjiro silk. Very lustrous, no fraying even after use. The Samigawa is very high quality. You're not going to see any large emperor nodes unless you're getting into really high priced swords like a Multahara or a Citadel, but really nonetheless very good quality race skin. You notice that slender, really nice tight fit of the Suka. I can't emphasize enough how comfortable this Suka fits in the hand. I felt like I had control and grip at all times. Really nice. I was impressed at how tight the fit of the Ito is on the Suka. With some force, you can definitely move them, but for the most part, extremely tight, extremely solid. Again, with really tight close-ups, you can see a little bit of residue. It might be glue, might be something else, but for the most part, very good detail on the Manukis. Again, the same overall theme of the cross-feathered theme of the sword, which is appreciated. And here is the Fuchi. Again, cross-feathered theme, extreme close-up. You can see the two-tone look of their pieces, which I really like. But I was so impressed with also the transition of the Fuchi and the Ito, and this is as tight as you're going to look at it, guys. This is beyond human eyes, and you can see how good the execution of the transition is there. Is it the best in the world? No, but it is very well done. I was impressed with that. Again, no hot spots, nothing bites in your hand. My only gripe with the fit and finish was a little bit of a wiggle in the Fuchi. Again, didn't hinder any tightness of the sword overall, but again, as a handmade sword, as Danny had said, because I stated this to him, you're going to have some imperfections here and there. The Suba. The Suba is a black iron and like a yellowed bronze two-tone look. Really love the Suba. Perfectly sized, not too big, not too small. Again, beautiful details on the cross-feathered theme. Again, you can see with tight micro close-ups, macro close-ups, you can see a little bit of residue on there. It can be easily taken off, but it's, I guess, just to, make a note, there was some residue. But again, with the human eye, you didn't see it. Actually, as I was shooting it, I didn't see it until I saw the footage. But really good execution on the Suba, sticking with the theme of the overall sword, which I really do appreciate when the theme is consistent. And the color scheme, everything is consistent with all their pieces. Very tight fit of the Suba, no wiggle, no rattle, even after cutting. No hot spots. It's smooth. It's completely smooth and grinded out, so there's no hot spots even if you happen to choke up on the Suba. There's absolutely no discomfort whatsoever. I was very happy with that overall feel and look of the Suba. The habaki and the seppas are Skyjiro's yellowed bronze material. Really like this habaki. I mean, in a market and in an ocean that's filled with all similar habakis, to have something different and customized around the sword that you're holding is always very appreciated. You notice how there's a different texture in the inner circle compared to the rest of it. Nice polished look. Seppas even look great. The fit of the habaki on the blade is very well done. Probably not the best in the world, but it is very tightly fit, no movement whatsoever. And the habaki fit of it into the Koiguchi mouth is great. You can see there's very little spaces of the blade in habaki. It's pretty tightly fit, and these are very close shots, but very seamless, very good care that was put into creating this habaki for the blade and then for the Koiguchi mouth cutout, which you'll see later. But you can see very micro spaces there, but for the most part, incredibly good fit. Now the saya. The saya, I have to say, the way it was delivered to me and the way they painted it, it's a dried wood and lacquer saya. It's like a piano type of finish. Yeah, it's a fingerprint magnet, but it is incredibly smooth. There is no bubbles, no ripples. It was a very well done lacquered saya. Probably the best. It came into the best shape that I've ever had a sword come in. I gotta say, it's just, there was no scratches, no dents, no ripples. It's an incredibly good, clean job. I can tell they definitely took the time to wait for it to dry before shipping it out or having the sageo touch with it. You could see the glimmer and how beautiful the finish is on this saya. I am extremely happy with how this saya came to me and the overall look and feel of it. It's got a smooth finish, very comfortable, very well fitted onto the blade. Can't say much more. I mean, it looks great. No problems, no scratches, no ripples. Very, very, very good job. This is the type of quality I appreciate from Skyjiro, guys. This is quality. Look at this Kurogata. Look at the formation of the Kurogata. Now, if you own swords, you'll know that how good the execution is on this Kurogata or this knob on the saya. You can see how it takes up the whole width of the saya, how squared out it is. It's not just a rounded kind of glued in thing. You could tell this was carved and done really well. I can't see this ever failing on me. You don't really see any glue spots unless you go in as tight as I go. I think tight is too tight sometimes. The sageo, it's a good quality sageo, guys. It's not the best Japanese silk sageo. It's the Skyjiro silk, but it does well. Here is the Koiguchi mount. Now, look at the formation of the mount and how well the cutout is. Very clean execution, very clean wood. You have the water buffalo bullhorn around the Koiguchi mount, but I was very impressed with how good the habaki fit into that cutout. And from looking at those close-up pictures, you can understand why the fit and finish is so good on this blade with this saya. A little bit of a thumb push, pops right out. It kind of goes in and out like as if it feels like it's on rails, butter smooth, and no noise and no rattle in the saya. So here is definitely the business part of the blade. Okay, the part of the blade that definitely means business on the Skyjiro sword. And as the great Matthew Jensen calls it, the pointy, stabby part that we're all concerned with, and with good reason, because that's pretty much what does all the work on the sword. As discussed with Danny, this is a Skyjiro Forge's proprietary carbon steel. This particular carbon steel is a .70 proprietary carbon. It's their own concoction, super secretive, and I appreciate that. The hara is a masume. It's a folded steel wood grain pattern. The hamon is a notari hamon. The sori on this 28-inch blade is about 2.2 centimeters. A really nice sori on it. It's got a really beautifully finished mirror polish. Now, mirror polish is something traditional, and it's something Skyjiro likes to stick to because it is a traditional finish. In historical times, as he explained to me, it was easier to get blood off of the blade and the blood wouldn't stain the blade, but we don't talk about that these days. But I would have appreciated a deeper type of polish because the wood grains, if you see the close-ups, you can see the wood grains very clearly along with the temper line of the folds. The folded steel has somewhere around like 3,000 layers, which is very, very impressive, but it is, for all intents and purposes, for what it stands for as a mirror polish, a very, very clean look. The boshi, or the hamon drop off into the kasaki, which is a true kasaki, is very well done, and you could see in this shot how beautiful the folds are on the temple line underneath the hamon. Very handsome, and I always appreciate these aesthetics on the sword. But overall, this is a very handsome looking blade. Definitely a lot of care and professionalism was taken into making this blade, into the polishing of it. Before we get into the cutting with the sword, my first cuts, I just want to emphasize how this sword felt in my hands. Felt at all times I had a lot of control of the sword. The weight of the sword was generously actually distributed throughout the entire sword. Felt constant control of the tip at all times. Again, very comfortable suka, no hot spots, fits very comfortably in the hand. I really did like how this felt in the hand. The start and stop felt very controllable. Very light and nimble sword. Even though there's no bowhai, I still felt like it was a very well balanced, very nimble sword. I'm sure that if you choose to go with bowhai on the sword, it will probably be a little bit even more light and nimble. But for what it is, I was very happy swinging this thing around. Now here is a spot you guys probably all skipped to, cutting. Sorry there's not much of it. It was a cold, miserable day in New York. Really horrible time of the year to do any cutting, but I'm definitely going to be doing a lot of cutting with this sword. First time ever swinging the sword, just getting some practice swings. Can't emphasize enough how nimble and controllable it is in the hand. Extremely well balanced. I was probably one of the best handling swords I had in my hand, and I can tell the quality and the price point. It definitely comes into play when you finally get this in your hand and cut with it. It is a dedicated tatami cutter. That's how it's advertised, and that's what it does so well. Clean, beautiful cuts, effortless, and these mats weren't even really dried up, soaked that much. I think probably about a half hour on each side, so it did an amazing job. Butter smooth. Here's some GoPro footage of some cutting. Tried to do a different angle for you. Like that upper swing, loose hanging bamboo. It definitely cut it in twain, son, as Scab says. Really good job. Very good tatami cutter. If you want it for tatami, that's what it's for. I did some bamboo cutting. Now this is very hard, completely dried out bamboo, 1 inch in diameter. Again, disclosure, this sword is not recommended to cut bamboo, but hey, I did it anyway. I wanted to see how it handled it, and it did handle it well. And again, this is completely hard and dry bamboo. It's not recommended for a feeble sword, but at the end of this cutting session, I inspected the sword. Absolutely no scratches left on the sword, no rolls, no bends. It handled it well, and I have cut bamboo with other swords and found some bends and rolls in other swords, so it's testament of the steel and how good and strong the steel is on this proprietary carbon steel method that they use. Bottle cutting, listen, if I didn't mention it before, this did come in razor sharp. Didn't do much bottle cutting, but you can imagine a razor sharp sword or a sharp sword out of the box is going to handle the bottle cutting very well, so no surprise there, but it did, to be noted, come very sharp out of the box into my hands. Guys, this is the Taka-Chigai, translated Cross Feathers, 2016 edition. Hope you enjoyed the video. This definitely won't be my last Skyjiro sword. Happy to finally hold it in my hand. And as you could tell, I really did enjoy it. I enjoyed swinging it. I enjoyed the balance, the quality fit and finish, the beautifully polished saya, the fact that this doesn't I told you, I didn't show you, but absolutely no movement of the saya with the blade in it. Beautifully like a rail, basically in and out. Absolutely wonderful. Doesn't fall out, okay, hold it in place, but so easy to remove. I mean, fit and finishes like this is so hard to come by in the sword market, and I could tell that if they didn't do it, it looks as if they basically they built the blade, the saya around the blade, which is such a great thing to do, to know that you have such a perfectly fit blade into your saya. This is a pleasure to hold a sword like this, to have such a wonderful fit and finish, easy out, doesn't fall out, no rattle whatsoever, absolutely no noise. Here, the mic is here. That's only the ito that you hear. The sageo rather. Nothing. Absolutely wonderful. So I hope you enjoyed it, guys. This is Joe from Steel Forge and Fire Sword Knife. See you on the next blade or next knife. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. Guys, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It'll help me get out more videos to you like this and get you more swords like this to review. So Skyjiro, guys, Taka-Chigai, Cross Feathers, wonderful sword. See you when I see you guys. Love you all. Ciao.